Well, Megan, we're here still with Stephen Barton, the keynote speaker here tonight at Guns in America, this conversation. We're going to hear from all sides of the gun issue here this evening, but we want to continue this conversation with Stephen. He was in Aurora back in last July, was in the movie theater, was shot by the gunman, and before that day, did you give much consideration to guns or gun issues in any way?
Not particularly. I mean, it was very much a peripheral issue to me. I mean, I follow politics, and I had beforehand, but you know, I didn't really know much about the issue and about really the horrible daily toll that gun violence takes on so many people and so many communities in this country. I mean, it was staggering to me when I found out that over 30 Americans are murdered with guns every day. And obviously, I had my own experience, but I mean, this experience is happening to so many people all the time. So I couldn't help but feel compelled to work on this issue and to think more about it.
How are you now involved? You're involved with Mayor Bloomberg's commission. Tell us about that.
That's right. I work for Mayors Against Illegal Guns, which is a bipartisan coalition of, at this point, more than 850 mayors from across the country. It represents 60 million Americans. And basically just a group that since 2006 has been advocating for things like universal background checks and other common sense, measures that will help fix our broken gun laws.
What do you think that changing the law can do? Can it stop what happened in Aurora, Colorado, do you think?
Well, that's the tricky question. What can we do to stop these mass tragedies? That's probably the harder question, because we know what will stop the daily gun violence, and part of that is, as I said, universal background checks and submitting more records into the mental health or into the background check system, including mental health records and felony convictions and domestic abuse and those sorts of records. But also, I mean, I think it's also important to look at assault weapons, look at high-capacity magazines. I mean, in my case, had the shooter in Aurora had his magazine, which held 100 bullets, had that not jammed, I don't even know that I'd be here having this conversation with you today. And so, the ban, there's been a lot of talk about, the ban in the past. It wasn't effective, or it didn't make any difference. But, I mean, we're not just talking about reinstating the old ban. We're talking about creating a new law that will have teeth and that will be more effective. And beyond that, I mean, trafficking, firearms trafficking is the way that legal guns are diverted into the illegal market. I mean, that's how criminals get their guns. And if we had better enforcement of those laws, plus an actual statute on the federal books that outlawed trafficking and straw purchasing, I mean, these are all components. And that's not to say, mental health is of course a part of this conversation. It's not an either or.
Adding to your picture of who you are in this issue, you also happen to live within a short drive of Sandy Hook Elementary School.
That's right, yeah.
What was your impression when that happened? Were you just stunned that here we had another case and it was really in your own backyard?
Absolutely. I was actually in the Denver area in Aurora, Colorado at the time, doing work for Mayors Against Illegal Guns when that happened and when I got news of it. And I couldn't believe it. As any American, I think, couldn't believe it. It was just staggering that it happened, but I guess in addition, just the fact that it happened so close to where I grew up.
What do you think is your greatest asset now in terms of serving this country and on this issue?
Well, I mean, I'm going to continue telling my story and to really show people what's at stake here. It's not just statistics. It's not just numbers or policies. It's real people. It's real Americans, and it's the families and friends. Countless. I mean, there are over 30 Americans, as I said, are murdered with guns every day. There are countless communities and families that surround those people. Millions of people that are affected by this issue yearly. And so I'm going to keep telling my story, and hopefully, that will at least convince some minds and change some hearts.
Stephen, thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks.
Enjoy the evening and, more importantly, the Georgetown.
Thank you so much.
You have a chance to let loose and have some fun.
That's right.
He acknowledges he's going to be fairly high to the Teflon dome, but I suppose if anybody's watching and has good seats they'd like to share, this would be a guy who certainly would deserve one, that's for sure.
Thanks
Megan,
so
back
much.
to you.